No, so crazy as you look.
I told you, I'm a man of my word. Where's the Italian?
Don't go to man. What you do with all your money?
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste. I enjoy dynamite, and gunpowder, and gasoline.
What's it?
And you know the thing that they have in common? They're cheap.
Said you were a man of your word.
Oh, I am. I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal. And I'm gonna give it to them. It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
The criminal elite do not care about making money. They want the control. And this aspect of the men that own and control our debt and death paradigm is part of this collapse story that I feel is overlooked in most commentary, and it is the psychopathic nature of those that control the levers. One thing you must realize about these men, all schemes from Wall Street Ponzi schemes to Washington laws to wars based on lies to the growing police state to the mainstream media propaganda, is that these men do not really care about money. It is all about control to secure their privileged positions. So long as they can manipulate the world with money and the power it buys, they can control humanity. This collapse is ultimately about trying to control the uncontrollable. Everything they do is about sending a message. The message is to control you. You have heard the term "don't fight the Fed," because they control the market, and they can make markets irrational longer than you can stay liquid. The men that own and control this debt and death paradigm will literally burn the world down if they cannot control it. Here is an historical example of what I'm talking about. When President Andrew Jackson killed the Federal Reserve of his day, the Ben Bernanke of that time was Nicholas Biddle. He said in the heat of this battle, "I am ready and willing to apply the match that would start the most ruinous financial explosion that yet shook the foundations of this republic." He goes on to say, "Nothing but a widespread suffering will produce any effect on Congress. Our only safety is in pursuing the steady course of firm restriction, and I have no doubt that such a course will ultimately lead to the restoration of the currency and the recharter of the bank." This financial terrorism is very similar to what Hank Paulson did when he ransomed Congress for $700 billion in 2008.
Look, I was there when the Secretary and the Chairman of the Federal Reserve came those days and talked with members of Congress about what was going on. It was about September 15th. Here's the facts, and we don't even talk about these things. On Thursday at about 11 o'clock in the morning, the Federal Reserve noticed a tremendous drawdown of money market accounts in the United States to the tune of $550 billion was being drawn out in a matter of an hour or two. The Treasury opened up its window to help. They pumped $105 billion in the system and quickly realized that they could not stem the tide. We were having an electronic run on the banks. They decided to close the operation, close down the money accounts, and announce a guarantee of $250,000 per account so there wouldn't be further panic out there. And that's what actually happened. If they had not done that, their estimation was that by 2 o'clock that afternoon, $5.5 trillion would have been drawn out of the money market system of the United States, would have collapsed the entire economy of the United States, and within 24 hours the world economy would have collapsed.
The only way they can pass this bill is by creating and sustaining a panic atmosphere. That atmosphere is not justified. Many of us were told in private conversations that if we voted against this bill on Monday, that the sky would fall, the market would drop 2,000 or 3,000 points the first day, another couple thousand the second day, and a few members were even told that there would be martial law in America if we voted no. That's what I call fear-mongering. Unjustified. Proven wrong. We've got a week, we've got 2 weeks to write a good bill. The only way to pass a bad bill keep the panic pressure on.
When we have our next crisis, it'll be the same thing. Give us money or you will die. Thankfully, we had Andrew Jackson back then that saw through their threats and liberated the United States from the financial tyranny that gripped the nation. His response to Nicholas Biddle and the bankers was, "Gentlemen, I've been watching you for a long time, and I am convinced that you used the funds to speculate on the breadstuffs of the country. When you won, you divided profits amongst yourself. When you lost, you charged it to the bank. You tell me that if I take the deposits from the bank and annul its charter, I shall ruin tens of thousands of families. That may be true, gentlemen, but that is your sin. Should I let you go on, you would ruin 50,000 families, and that would be my sin. You are a den of vipers, and I intend to rout you out. By eternal God, I will rout you out." Andrew Jackson. While it is tempting to wish for a powerfully strong leader like Andrew Jackson to rise to power and end the Fed, the current reality makes that a complete impossibility, as the systemic corruption has reached a point that will never happen. The only chance for this to happen will arise out of the ashes of a collapsed society. Unfortunately, we do not know the outcome of that collapsed society, as it might give rise to a new tyranny or a new constitutional republic. The silver bullet and the silver shield shows that we can have a real effect on our own lives by becoming our own Andrew Jacksons and depriving the banking beast of not only our money, but our time and talent. We can become our own central banks and empower ourselves so that we can eventually become a blessing onto others with the ultimate exit strategy.